All right, here we go for Lauren. That was a low kick out or a deep kick out, so let's try to bring that up a little bit. You can see that her head is back or up right here. Okay, so her head is up and then her hips and her feet. So what we want to try to do with this backstroke a little bit more is if I were to come back here just a little bit. Okay, so if we can think about from shoulder to shoulder and then down her spine, right here is the press of that T that I talk about. And if we can get her to kind of press back into that, maybe drive her head, bring her head up just a little bit, look back so her hips can come up higher. That's going to let her reach further back with each stroke. So I tell them to catch wide, roll with your hips, and then pull deep. And that's going to let her have a little bit stronger stroke. And then we want to really work on keeping that side straight. You can kind of see that it's curled a little bit. And I mean, there's people in the lane, but we got to work on keeping that head a little bit more still in her backstroke.
Do you want to go back that way? You can do that. Okay, go ahead.
All right, freestyle. This isn't looking bad. She's getting a lot longer, a lot stronger. As you can kind of see, this hand is down while this hand is pulling. So if she can keep this hand up here instead and just really reach and stretch out her side and turn from her hips, she's going to be able to keep that elbow up high and have a much stronger hip rotation and be able to use her back and her core a lot more with each pull versus the strokes. The other thing you can see is her hand is underneath her body. Okay, so right here, that's her elbow's right here, and her hand is pointing towards that direction of the pool. We need to have it so that her fingertips are down and a high elbow catch. So what we're looking for is that elbow out to the side of her shoulder, and then hands down, almost making like a 90-degree angle. That's going to save her shoulders a lot, and it's going to let her use her lats to help her pull. You can also see that she's coming in bent. We want to try to come in with a straight arm and straight catch. The breathing position looks pretty good, though. That looks a lot better. All right, butterfly. This is good. The one thing I would say is she might be able to use a little more hips. I like how she's reaching, but you can see right here there's a pretty big bend in her legs. So try to keep those legs a little bit straighter and stay more on top of that water. When she bends her knees like that, now she's creating, you can see this, right? So it's making a bigger wave that she's going to have to get her body up and over, versus if she kept those legs a little bit straighter and her hips up, the wave could be much smaller and each stroke could be a lot more powerful and more efficient. You can see her hips are kind of starting to die out a little bit here. The other thing is to help her come back from those breaths. She does a good job for a little bit, and then she stops tucking her head, right? So if we were to come back to this breath, she keeps her eyes up, and she never brings her head back down after each after the breath. Watch. Hang on. And when she does that, her hips just stay down. So that's what we need to work on.